Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with another edition of Kenzie's Krimes, a deep dive into a local murder mystery drama. And Case and I are just like you. We don't know what Kenzie's bringing to the table.
We don't know what's going on.
We don't know what the hell's happening. It's a deep dive into a local murder mystery or drama. We sit around the campfire and listen to Kenzie tell us a story.
Okay, let's get right into it. So Yingying Zhang was born on December 21st, 1990 in China. She completed her master's degree in environmental engineering at Peking University and worked as a research assistant at the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing. Yingying had a fiancé who she met while studying at Peking University. She was also a talented singer and was in a band called Cute Horses, which I feel like Case would love.
I
like right up your alley.
I like Band of Horses, so I would imagine I would love Cute Horses.
Cute Horses, so lead singer. And even with all of this success in multiple areas that she had strived for, she wanted more. So she came to the United States as a visiting scholar at the University of Illinois. She arrived here in April of 2017, and the plan was to enroll in a PhD program in the fall. Yingying had her own apartment nearby the University of Illinois, and it was the first time she had ever lived on her own. So Friday, June 9th, 2016, 26-year-old Yingying Zhang was working in the lab with her colleagues at this is such a mouthful. Hold on. I was like, I've never done anything this smart in my entire life.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this.
She was working with her colleagues at the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences within the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences at the University of Illinois.
Wow.
I wouldn't even know where to find that building, let alone get into it.
I was like, where's Algebra 1?
I think you could find that building because the sign would be incredibly big.
Big sign.
So, jeez.
That's such a great point.
Oh, there it is. I got it. It's that one that's blocking out
You
the
know what?
sun.
So after finishing their field work studying photosynthesis and the crop productivity, they were packing up damaged equipment and getting ready to send it out for repair. Around noon, Yingying said that she needed to meet up with her property manager to sign a lease for a new place. Hours later, Yingying hadn't returned. Her colleagues grew concerned, calling her cell phone with no luck. She had only been in the country for about 6 weeks. The colleagues went to the University of Illinois Police Department. Officers made entry into her apartment, worried that she had suffered from like an accident or something. However, the residence was empty. It was the day after she went missing, and officers learned that she was actually heading out to meet the property manager at a new apartment. They went to question him. He said he received a few texts from her saying she was on her way. Her last text claims she'd be there around 2:10 p.m. At 2:30, she still hadn't shown up. The property manager sent a text asking if she was still planning to come, and she never replied. The university has over 2,000 surveillance cameras, and officers started searching through them, trying to find Yingying. They found her getting on a bus on the way towards the new apartment. She got off the bus, but missed the next one. On Sunday the 11th, a few days after her disappearance, an officer found footage of Yingying standing on a corner waiting for the next bus since she had obviously just missed one. She was incredibly responsible, and being late really bothered her, like, to her core, right? So when a man in a black car asked her if she needed a ride, she happily accepted. She can be seen on the surveillance camera having a conversation for a full minute and then getting into the car. There was clear evidence this case was now an abduction, and local officials were allowed to call in the FBI. FBI agents were able to find lots of footage of the black vehicle driving around town the day before and after picking up Yingying. With more footage available, they could confirm the car was a black Saturn Astra. Luckily, this car actually isn't popular because it was only sold in the US for 2 years between 2008 and 2009.
I've seen those cars. They didn't last long for a reason.
They're not beautiful.
No, they're not.
There were only 26 Saturn Astras in the Champaign County, and only 18 of them had a hatchback like the one in the video. FBI agents started to find and interview each owner of a Saturn Astra. One of them was a man named Brent Christensen. He graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in 2013 with a bachelor's degree in math and physics. Then he moved to the University of Illinois, where he received a master's in physics, and he considered pursuing a PhD but changed his mind and was looking for employment as of June 2017. Brent married Michelle Zordman in 2011. However, they had issues in their relationship, and by 2017, made the decision to have an open marriage. At the time Yingying went missing, Michelle was out of town with her boyfriend visiting old friends.
Wow.
So she had a solidified boyfriend. So this wasn't just like an open marriage, like they had like relationships, because Brent also had a girlfriend at the time. Agents arrived at Brent's apartment and he claimed he didn't remember much about the day. He was out of class because he had already graduated and he didn't have a job. So he said that he was probably playing video games all day. One of the FBI agents was reviewing surveillance footage of the car and noticed the rim on the front passenger side was missing a chunk. The agents went back to Brent's house to check the rim. It was a match, a chunk missing out of the front passenger side.
Whoa.
So I'm gonna pause right here because the actual way the kidnapper gets caught is so crazy what they get on tape, and it blew my mind how they get it.
It's coming back in 3 minutes. The conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes with Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes. Left off with a cliffhanger here.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, 26-year-old Yingying Zhang was from China. She had her master's degree from Peking University, and she was a visiting scholar at the University of Illinois. Unfortunately, she was going to meet with a property manager for her new apartment after being in the U.S. for just 6 weeks, and she never returned. FBI agents were able to find surveillance footage of her getting into a black Saturn Astra. And because that car was only sold in the US for 2 years, there was only several in the area and they were able to visit all the owners. Well, they meet Brent Christensen, who's married but in an open relationship. Like his wife has a boyfriend and he has a girlfriend. So they have a really unique setup. The car was an exact match down to a chunk of the rim missing on the passenger's front side. So officers learned 9 a.m. the day Yingying went missing, a woman named Emily Hogan was waiting at a bus stop. She said it was quiet and no one else was around. A black vehicle pulled up next to her, rolled down the window, and mumbled something that she couldn't really hear. She took a step closer, asking him to repeat himself. The man was wearing aviators and flashed a police badge and said he was an undercover police agent in the area and he wanted to ask her a few questions. She agreed. However, he told her to get in the car so they could talk, which made her uneasy, and she said no. He told her to report anything suspicious and drove away quickly. Well, guess what? She found him to be suspicious, so she called the police and reported him. And she also put out a Facebook post kind of warning people, like the students and everything. FBI agents questioned Emily after finding the report and realized it was the same car as the one in surveillance video with Yingying. They also put out a photo lineup and she immediately identified Brent Christensen. He was brought in for questioning.
Wow.
You know what we have access to? Cameras. Do you think that we're not going to track a vehicle all over campus? We control kiosks at bus stops. We can look in buses. We can look in every building.
He said that him and his wife had 2 cars, a Camaro, which was usually driven by him, and the black Saturn Astra, which was mainly Michelle, his wife's car. Michelle was out of town with her boyfriend, and Brent had no alibi because of this. Saying that you're sitting home alone is not an alibi. Once Brent realized officers knew it was 100% his car, he claimed he got Friday and Saturday mixed up, and he did pick up a girl, but he didn't tell them that because he thought it happened Saturday and they were asking about Friday.
Oh.
He totally got his days mixed up.
I've used that excuse 100 times. My wife does not understand that excuse. She does not buy it. It's terrible.
No. And guess who else didn't? FBI agents. So according to Brett, he saw an Asian woman standing near a bus stop and she looked upset. He asked if she needed a ride, and she very happily accepted his offer. He claimed that he had a hard time understanding her English, so she pointed to a spot on the map. He said she had a meeting with a professor. He said he took a wrong turn and Yingying freaked out and asked to get out of the car. And he was in a neighborhood that was unfamiliar, how convenient, and then he never saw her again. Officers let him go. They could have arrested him, but they decided to closely monitor him, believing he'd mess up and give them more evidence and also lead them to Yingying. As we talked about earlier, him and his wife were in an open marriage. She had a boyfriend and he had a girlfriend. Her name was Tara Bullis. She became suspicious of Brent and was willing to record a conversation between him and her without him knowing. So on June 9th, 2017, at 6:46 p.m., there was like this benefit walk to raise awareness about Yingying's case. Brent called Tara, his girlfriend, and said that he wanted to go, and she decided to go with him with the recorder on.
Wow.
To this event. Also, what a creepo. He really wanted to go to this event. Well, at the event, Brent bragged to Tara about what he did.
What?
He said multiple times that the people at the benefit were here for him. He was saying people had gathered because of what he had done, and he took pride in that. Tara pretended to be impressed in an effort to pull out more detail. He told her that Yingying fought hard, and this is his quote, but he had sexy time with her. He told Tara he choked Yingying for 10 minutes, but she was still breathing, so he carried her into the bathroom, set her in a bathtub, and hit her as hard as he could on the head with a baseball bat.
Oh.
He dismembered her entire body into separate garbage bags. He threw those away separately so they would all end up in a dump at different times. He also claimed he had killed 12 other people and that he was the most dangerous person around. He said the last person that was on his level was Ted Bundy.
God.
He said all of this to his girlfriend who was secretly recording him for the FBI.
Wow.
When agents heard the recording, Brent was arrested instantly. Agents searched for any other cases that could be tied to Brent, but what they came up with was nothing. Agents believe he was lying to boost his own ego and get praise from Tara. Brent had also previously gone to the counselor in college to talk about his homicidal desires. The counselor never shared this information with anyone. Michelle, Brent's wife, gave consent for an apartment search. They collected all of his electronics and several other items, such as a baseball bat. They also swabbed a red stain on the mattress. Brent told his wife, Michelle, it came from a nosebleed, but it came back as a match for Yingying, as did several swabs in the bathroom. He also had abduction fantasy searches on his laptop and phone. Brent was held without bond, partly because on the recording his girlfriend took while at the benefit march, he was pointing out other ideal victims he would like to kill well at this awareness march. So they had that on recording. On June 24th, 2019, Brent was found guilty of all charges and he was sentenced to life in prison.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
See, says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
Well, there you go. Another edition of Kenzie's Krimes. If you missed any part of it, it'll be on the podcast, the Brian and Kenzie podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, and any time you want to listen. The entire show, a lot of shows don't do that. The entire show is our podcast. So if you miss any part of it, go back and listen because we want you to be a part of everything we do every morning. Coming up, music entertainment news, a lot of breaking news concerning some celebrities and who's going to divorce who, plus OK Go tickets for Gallagher Way at Wrigley Field. Really cool event. We have those tickets on the way as well.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning, and Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Why? Because I have a job to do.
With rapid-fire takes.
So I don't want to hear from you lava pigs on this notion today. No idea what you're talking about. You're complaining more than you like to breathe air. It's like you get up in the morning only to complain and cry and moan on social media about things that you don't even understand.
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Take advantage of it. Get up in here.
The Jim Rome Show podcast.
What's your beef?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
You've been warned.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Sandy's app. If I give you a decade, who do you think's the MVP?
80s, Hogan, not even close. 90s, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Absolutely.
2000s, John Cena.
You filmed The Brain in 2004.
Yeah.
Isn't the story that role was going to be for Steve Austin? For Steve Austin.
Yep. What is one man's trash is another man's trophy.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.